Hi everybody, it's Liza. It's Tuesday, September the 17th, and it has stopped raining in Colorado. Yay! For those of you who aren't in the U.S. or don't know what's going on here in Colorado, we have had some massive flooding. And when I say massive, I mean towns that a week ago were there, there's nothing left. It's covered in water right now. This is what's been called a 100-year flood. So every 100 years a flood like this happens. Apparently some are even saying 500 years. Every 500 years a flood like this happens. So it's been a crazy week around here because in the span of about 3 days we got as much rain as we normally get in the span of a year. So to have it not be raining and sunny outside is actually really nice. I have been extremely lucky in the fact that the area that I live in was not highly affected. I was still even more affected than many of my friends were because I was put on standby for evacuation where I live, but a lot of other people in the general area that I live didn't have any issues whatsoever. So it was just a nuisance to have that much rain falling. So it's been a little crazy around here recently. I was actually trapped in my apartment for 2 days. I live on the second story of an apartment complex. And because of that I wasn't worried about like my stuff getting flooded. But the parking lot of my apartment complex did flood. The roads surrounding my apartment complex did flood because I live near a spillway for a dam and that spillway overflowed. So it's been a little crazy. Like I said, I got trapped in my apartment for 2 days. I will insert some pictures of what my parking lot looked like. And the reason I couldn't leave for 2 days. But I'm safe. My stuff is safe. Unfortunately, I do know some people who lost my cat is safe. Luna is safe. Unfortunately, I do know people who not only lost property but lost life. I do know a few people that lost friends or family in the flood, and there are still literally hundreds of people that are unaccounted for. So please, please, please continue to keep Colorado in your thoughts, prayers, whatever you do, because this is huge for us. This is very much like Hurricane Katrina was for the Gulf Coast. So that's kind of the equivalent here. And it's going to take a long time for a lot of these communities to bounce back. A lot of these communities are tourist communities, and that tourism industry that's getting ready to start. Winter is the big tourism industry here. It's getting ready to start, and those places don't exist anymore. So people have lost their livelihoods on top of, property, on top of friends and family. There are people who may never recover from this. So please continue to keep those people and this area in your thoughts and prayers, because this is a big deal. On to other topics, to kind of change the mood here, on to other topics. Last week I was unable to make a Talk to Me Tuesday video, not because of the flooding, because it hadn't started raining yet, but for a couple of reasons. I had a sinus headache because before the rain changed there was massive changes in the atmospheric pressure and my sinuses were crazy, and yeah, so I had a really bad sinus headache last week, on top of the fact that it was World Suicide Prevention Day, and that is something that is very important to me personally, suicide prevention and mental health awareness. So I was participating in activities with regards to World Suicide Prevention Day and National Suicide Prevention Week last week, and was unable to make a video last week. Because of that, I decided that unfortunately that stuff was more important to me last week than making a video was, so I hope you all will forgive me for that. But because I ended up being trapped in my apartment for a couple days, I got a lot done. When you have nothing else to do but clean out the DVR on your television and craft, you can get a lot done. I did a lot of cooking. I also did a little bit of card making. I started an independent direct sales, there we go. I started a direct sales business with a company called Wild Tree that sells herbs, spices, culinary blends, things of that nature. And it's all organic, all natural, which is also very important to me. And so I started selling some of the, started selling their items to help supplement my income, because even though I have found a part-time position, it's still not going to be enough for me to survive on and pay all my bills with, and it's also only a temporary position. So I decided that this would be a good thing, that I could work on my own time and keep that and those types of things. So after people purchased some of the items from me, I wanted to make them some thank you cards. So I made this real simple thank you card. It says thanks. But I made this real simple thank you card because it was easy to quickly reproduce. I made about 20 of these. I made about 20 of these, and as people received their orders, or as they ordered and had it shipped to them, I sent them a thank you card to thank them for making a purchase and helping support my business. I also discovered what to use this wonderful sock monkey fabric on. I absolutely love this fabric, and I didn't quite know what to do with it when I found it on some sales a couple weeks ago. Thought I was going to hold on to it for a little while, but then I went through some of the things I've made in the past and some of the patterns that I have, and I'm trying to become more of a pattern user. It's not something I do a lot, so I'm trying to become more of a pattern user and actually make the things that I have patterns for. So this is actually a pattern I purchased a while ago, and I did use it once. I do remember using it at least one other time before, because my sister gave me this pattern, and she had purchased it to ask me to make a baby gift for a friend that she knew. And so this is actually a baby sling. So it has a pocket that I lined with just some solid fleece that I have, because I thought that would be nice and soft and warm for a baby. And then basically what it does is you throw it over your shoulder, and one arm goes through, and then you put the baby in the pocket like that. This is actually a little small for me. I didn't make it to my measurements because I'm not having a baby. But I did make it to what I believe is a good friend of mine's measurements. We're going to see if it works for her. If it doesn't, I will make her another one that does fit for her to her measurements. But I thought this would be something fun for a really nice baby gift, was to use the sock monkey fabric. So I got this accomplished in about a day. This did not take me that long at all. And other than having some difficulty reading the pattern and absolutely hating laying a pattern out and cutting around the pattern, I hate that. I did not like that at all. But other than those issues, I think it turned out rather well. It got to a point at the top up here, there's kind of an interesting seam for the shoulder area, and I basically didn't understand the directions on how to make that at all as I was reading it. So I managed to find the directions had pictures with it, and I managed to kind of look over the pictures and kind of figure out what they wanted me to do. I have no idea if I did it right or not, but I think that looks pretty good for on the shoulder, and that's what it looks like on the inside. So I think it turned out okay. But yeah, I didn't understand it at all, and I still don't like working with patterns, but I need to get better at it, and I need to use them more often. Because I'm sure there are easier ways out there for what I'm doing with some of the stuff that I just don't know how to do because I don't read patterns and I don't see it all that often. The other thing that I worked on was I began last year, probably about this time of year is when I began it. Over on one of the blogs that I follow, Cut to Pieces, Angela posted different patterns. It was a quilt along, different patterns for a Super Mario Brothers themed quilt. And my sister's boyfriend, who I call my brother-in-law, even though they're not married, so I'm just going to call him my brother-in-law because it's easier than saying my sister's boyfriend. So my brother-in-law is a huge gaming fan, and Mario is probably one of his absolute favorite games of all times. So when I saw this quilt along posted, I knew we were going to have to, he's always extremely difficult for everybody in the family to buy gifts for, because he's one of those people that if he sees something he wants, he just buys it. He doesn't wait for it, he just spends the money and buys it, whether he has the money or not. So he never has anything, he never wants anything because he already has it. So basically when I saw this, I'm going to, this is for the first time going to be something that he doesn't have, and it's going to be something that he's going to like. So I called my mother, and I called my father, and I called my sister, and I told them all, I said, if we all go in on this together, I can't afford to make it as a gift just from me to him, because the materials are just going to cost me far too much, and I can't afford to do that. So last year the entire family decided, okay, we're all going to go in on this together, and it's going to be a family gift to him. Well, I rushed and rushed and rushed to try to finish it in time for the Christmas holidays, and there are 12 blocks, and I decided to change some of the blocks out for other characters from the original design. So I got 11 of the 12 blocks done by Christmas. I didn't get the last block done in enough time. So I got 11 of the 12 done by Christmas. I said, it's not going to be quilted. I'm just going to take a picture of it and you can wrap the picture up. I finished all 12 quilt blocks, and these 12 quilt blocks have been sitting in a pile to be finished. And I've had the sashing fabric, I've had the backing fabric, I just never got around to actually completing it. And finally, as I'm locked up in my house this past week, I see it sitting there and I'm like, alright, enough. I'm done. I don't want it. It's taking up too much space in my studio, which is small enough. It needs to get done. I can't have UFOs sitting around. So I finally got it, all the blocks trimmed, I got it sashed, I got the backing pieced, and it is finally off to the long arm quilter, because there's absolutely no way I was going to be able to quilt it here. It's way too big. It's about a full-sized quilt top. So there was no way I was going to be able to manage that in the such small space that I have. So I have that off at the long arm quilter, but I did take a picture of it all pieced together before that. I am absolutely in love with this quilt. I love the way that it turned out. There are a few things about it that I don't like. I hate the fact that I used a stabilizer on the back because they're all 1 by 1 inch squares that create the characters. So it's 1.5 inch squares that I pieced together. And I hate the fact that I used a stabilizer on the back that was a sticky stabilizer, so you stuck the fabric onto it and then you could sew it. And it washed off. And so I hate the fact that that stabilizer, though, when I used it, was great to hold the pieces together, but it also stretched the pieces in weird ways. And when I went to go wash it off, I had hoped that in the process of washing the stabilizer off, it would stretch those pieces back to where they were supposed to be, and it didn't. So some of the characters don't necessarily have straight lines between the blocks. They're kind of curved lines. And I really hate that. That bothers me. So like the blocks themselves, the blocks within the larger block are not square, which bothers me. But I don't think anybody else but me is going to notice that. So that's my accomplishments basically, and saying it now, it doesn't really seem like it's as much as it felt like when I actually did it, but there you go. I'm going to continue to hope for no more rain here, and I hope that everybody has had super crafty weeks. I also hope that you haven't been trapped in your house like I have been. I'm going stir crazy. I will see you guys next time that I make a video. Bye!